Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Welcome to the committee of the whole meeting this morning. We will have a public comment period at the end of the meeting, if anybody wants to address the board at that time for anything. But with that being said, we want to welcome everybody that's here in the boardroom and people that are virtual, listening in. And we'll get started with have a roll call by Madam Clerk Fetty.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Wayne.
Commissioner Goodchild.
Here.
Commissioner Bardwell.
Here.
Commissioner Vaughn.
Here.
Commissioner Lutz.
Here.
Commissioner Cook.
Here.
You have a quorum. You may proceed.
Thank you. New business. Anybody have anything they need to add to new business? First thing under new business is the Michigan Association of Counties, MAC 2025 Conference, Commissioner Bardwell.
Well, this is on the agenda just as a reminder, as I'm reminded, as I serve on the MAC board, and I'm sure a couple of you do as well. But the annual conference is coming up, as you got the notice. It's right here in front of us. It's something, it's in Grand Traverse, of course. It's something that I just wanted to encourage everyone to consider. It's been a long time from Tuscola County has had a participant. I know Tom and others had attended in the past, but from that perspective, just an encouragement to attend. Obviously, along with the details there, you can get more from Amanda Dustbins, but they gave a sort of a brief overview of what we talked about. So I know it's somewhat time consuming at times, and I certainly had spent many years going to these meetings and many more with MAC and NACO. I always found them valuable. However, I just want to remind everyone that's coming up, the county pays for it under the county travel policy, and certainly the per diems, I think, usually they provide the meals there, but I'm not sure on all the meals now. But at any rate, if there's any questions, we can certainly pass those to Shelley to find out. So that, if there aren't any questions, Chairman, that's all in my report.
Anybody have any questions on the conference? I know that we went to, well, the last one we went to, was it?
Yeah.
Commissioner Young up in Grand Traverse. I always get a lot out of them when I go. Number 2 under old business, Net Sources 1 renewal quote.
Director Ramirez should be remote. There he is.
John Ramirez has his hand raised.
Mr. Ramirez?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
These are two quotes, just as standard renewals. They're annual.
Did we lose you, John?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You cut out. We couldn't hear you.
Oh, I apologize. These are standard renewals for our Cisco smart switches.
Did anything change on the pricing for the renewals, John?
I believe it went up just a little bit, but other than that, no.
CA?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Put it on CA for Thursday?
Gary Dryer has his hand raised.
Mary Dryer has her hand raised?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mary.
Mary, your microphone's muted. You'll have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Am I on?
Yes.
Excuse me, I have a cold. What happened to the public comment before the beginning of the meeting?
There is not a public comment at the committee of the whole at the beginning of the meeting, Mary. That's only at the end of the meeting.
All right, thank you very much.
So did that take care of both of the requests that Mr. Lemayre's had?
I think so. Yeah.
Number 3, request for a part-time person in the maintenance department, like Mother, building grounds.
Like, bring them up, Jeff.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning.
Yes, I'm asking for a part-time person, 28 hours a week, to help out in the maintenance staff. It has been some time that I've had a full staff. I would say it's been a number of years that I've had a full staff. When I first started here, not counting myself, there were 6 people on day shift. Currently, I have 2 that are working and 1 that is off on leave. So to be quite honest, I'm falling behind on the day-to-day. Like the ticket stuff, emergencies and repairs we're handling, but the general housekeeping of the county, I would say. Painting, carpet cleaning, keeping flower beds weeded, windows washed, that sort of thing. Although not overly imperative, but they are important to keep the buildings looking clean and not run down. So I did work with Erica on numbers. Do they have the numbers?
Nope, but I have them.
Thank you, Erica.
Would you like to explain or?
Sure. So in the blue column, the 2025 calculations. Oh, hold on, yours is not updated. In that blue column, the 2025 calculations, you'll see where we expect to have savings due to leaves of absences for multiple individuals. So we're saving it for this year, $27,658 due to those expected and current leaves. So the proposed wages for 2025 for the remaining pays is $19,000. So you'll see that that's still within his budget, but obviously we would like to have permission to hire a part-time helper. And it would be a union position. So we estimated the wages at the union scale at 20 a week. That's where the 19,000 came from.
Any questions for?
This is, yes, Chairman, this is a new position.
It would be, yes.
So how would we be able to fund a new position if we don't even know financially, and we're coming in August, our cash position of the county, the financial position? This is just a snapshot of one department. How would you,
That's
how
correct.
would you justify that in light of all the other requests?
I justify that within his own budget because he's saving the 27,000 for this year.
That is true, but within all those budgets, if we truly are, I know Claire has not gotten here yet, has she?
She was here to do her onboarding on Friday,
Okay,
yes.
so she's not into financials. Until we determine where we're at financially, whether you have money in the budget or not, that's where we draw from if we need it. We ask for it. We look through all the budgets, look for any excesses.
Correct.
And if we're in a deficit position, my position is finance chair. I don't understand where you're at, Mike. Is how could we justify spending money with going into 8 months of not even knowing where we're at? How do you do that, Erica? You're going to be the controller administrator. you're the chief accountant. Beyond this paper right here, in terms of that, yeah, we're gonna say a little bit out of that budget. How would you justify that overall? Because your responsibility is the fiscal management of the county.
Correct.
So
So
what is your position on this?
my position on this is it is within his current budget. And so then we will address that accordingly. Obviously, we have to look at the whole financial picture moving forward. So, but his department is struggling currently. So it's budget neutral for this year. And then we will figure out when we do the budgets for this year, or for 2026, if this is a position we can maintain moving forward or not. So I have presented financials in May of where our picture was.
Well, I don't recall that.
It was
If
May
it was,
29th.
it was a very, you'll have to show me that again, because in my world, have not seen one since Clint was here. It was the full county, quarterly. Now, while you're saying that, is there not anyone other than Mike in the county that's having a tough time with employees in terms of staffing?
I'm sure there are, but
Wouldn't they be justified as well if this was
Certainly.
approved?
But again, I'm looking at one case at a
Yes, and
time.
what if, I know what you're saying, what if you have to remove this position? You just said it in your own words. You can look at the budget, you may have to justify or remove it in the future.
Correct.
What, I don't understand that. I understand your need, but I'm sure there's needs across the county that I don't understand. And to just flippantly decide to add a position without any overview of the finances.
I
I
don't-
wouldn't say we're doing it
Flippantly.
flippantly, Mr. Commissioner. I mean, this is something I have struggled with. And
I know you have.
Shelley and Erica, I'm not here because I
It's
feel,
not
I
true.
know what the position of the county is and
It's
what we're
not
looking
true.
at. And that's
It's the
why
finance.
Erica explained, if we can't maintain a position in 26, it's a part-time position. And we'll deal with that then. But at this point in time, I'm down one person. I'm
No further questions.
Probably down another person in another month or so. I'm just here to see if I can get some help.
Would it be helpful to label it a temporary part-time position rather than a permanent part-time position?
I would rather not. Because if I
Okay.
can maintain it, I would like to.
Okay.
And in the past, the word temporary meant that you did not have to pay unemployment insurance on that person. However, that is not the case anymore. In addition, we are a reimbursing unemployment company. So most companies are what they call contributing, which means you would pay a percentage of every dollar of payroll up to the threshold. But the county is a reimbursing. So the benefit of having a temporary title is no longer really helpful in the eyes of the expenses of an employee.
So how many people, Mike, how many people right now do you have on your staff?
Currently working right now, other than myself, I have 2.
You have 2.
Yes.
At one time you had 6?
Yes.
And the positions just went away or just didn't fill them or?
Well, there's been layoffs and there's been times that we've had other cuts and I've decided not to fill the position. But I feel that I've cut myself too thin. And so I'm here to ask for at least one person back at a part-time status.
Mr. Cook, you could explain.
I was trying to see per the audit, and I know the audit's just a snapshot at the end of the year, but I felt better with the information that we got from the audit, that we're, at least in what I've been able to see, that we're in better position than what I thought we were. But, again, I think that if he needs us, that with stipulation come 26, if after reviewing, we might have to eliminate it. And again, as just another member of the finance committee, that's the way I feel.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook, the audit was the 24. Clint predicted a
Correct.
500,000 deficit. The good feeling that I got out of that was that she was correct in her prediction. And it matched up, which I even concluded that if that's the case, then I'm really worried about her 3-year projection, which was even more devastating. So I understand what you're saying in one sense, but in the other sense, and I understand what you're saying in terms of not planning for the future. I'm just very concerned financially. And that you mentioned you had one. You had a financial review. I've been asked, I've been talking about it for a full review since January, a little after January. Why did Clayette come back? Clayette came back to shore up how to create a financial presentation to the board. Otherwise, it should have been done. She's been here twice, maybe 3 times. So not to belabor that, it's just a conundrum that we appropriate money, we add positions, and this, again, I'm sure there's someone else that needs a position in this county that would be just as justified within their budget. And I, for one, don't want to have to face that until we know where we're at financially. Your position could be just one of many that have to be eliminated. I don't know, hopefully not. No further questions, Chair.
So you want to move this to Thursday for a motion by the board?
Yes.
Let's move to Thursday and we'll do a regular motion on Thursday. Move on to number 4, fire system monitoring service agreement with Summit Fire Protection. Mike Miller.
Yes, so this is for the People's Building, across the street. We have everything. The buildings has fire protection, but we have no monitoring, and this is the last piece, is the actual agreement with the fire protection company to monitor that fire alarm. So should it go off, they call the fire department or what have you. But the price is $840 per quarter, so it's $3,200. All right, I'm a little bit wrong on that, but it's about $3,200 a year for that monitoring. We have the equipment. All we need to do is get this in place, and then we can have the equipment installed and get the building monitored.
Pleasure of the board.
Put it on for Thursday.
Actually, I'm wrong on that. It's $840 for the year.
See it? Or should it be a motion?
I think we can see it yet.
You can see it.
If everybody's in agreement.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Move on to the old business now. The Michigan State Police Post MSP update. Mike Miller.
Do they have
It's in that.
they have it in the packet? Okay. So in your packet, you have the counter offer from the state. Shelley, Erica, and myself met on the phone and talked to them and kind of went over this. To make a long story short, obviously they don't want to pay what we had offered. So this is their counter offer. Basically, it's the same lease we have now. And it's the same thing we offer them, other than the price per square foot has changed. So they are still looking at a long-term lease. They are offering the initial terms starting out at $10.44 a square foot, which is $78,743 per year. And then in their first renewal option after 10 years, they are offering $11.41. And then the second renewal, they're offering $12.37. We did talk with them about the parking lot. They are going to, we have a project to do this year. We're going to complete that project, but after that, the state is taking over the parking lot maintenance other than the line striping. The county will still have to do line striping every 5 years, but the parking lot maintenance will be handled by the state. So they are doing quite a bit in the lease. They're looking at this as, I don't have it right in front of me, but I believe their analysis put it there. They're already paying $5 to $6 a square foot for utilities, and they're part of the maintenance agreement. So that's why they're offering these numbers, which would put them in the range of what their market analysis says of around $17 to $20 per square foot. And I believe you have those market analyses in your packet. So right now, what we're looking at is we need direction from the board on how you'd like to proceed. If you'd like to counter offer this offer, or if you agreed to this offer, is basically where we're at this point. And it's still a 20-year lease. It's 10 years with 2 5-year renewals. It's the exact same lease we already have. It's just updated numbers. pretty much.
Chairman,
Go ahead.
I think we need to counter offer.
As a board, do we need to counter offer, or do we just get this thing done and move forward? And
Mr. Chairman, can I?
sure.
The last page is their, I guess, offer. And it's 20 year or 30 year?
That's 20 years.
20 year, okay. So that's where the 1044, 1141, 1237.
Yes.
Okay. What are they paying now? Sorry, I missed that.
Well, right now, all they're paying is just maintenance costs.
Okay.
During the lease period, the first initial, they were paying $21 a square foot. But as it explains in here, and this is true, they were paying back the bond that the county got to build that building. So they're arguing what the buildings are, they already paid for the building. They're not going to pay that much. They want to go with a fair market rate.
Do we know what they're paying for other posts?
I do not.
Okay.
I got a few questions.
Go ahead.
Like, you remember when the state police were consolidating posts? Carroll was, could have been one of those. Remember that activity? What's your sense of what's going on across Michigan now in terms of the attitude and latitude the state police have? They come out of the chute this time with a counteroffer.
Well,
What's
to be clear, this isn't the state police that we're dealing with. This is Department of Management and Budget.
Right.
But I don't know what the attitude of the state police is across the state, but I do know that Carroll Post is the only operating post in the thumb. So here on county, Sanilac County, they only have, the buildings are still there, but it's my understanding that they're used basically as a stopping point, or if they need to make a quick report or something of that nature. But they all come and report to the Carroll Post and leave from the Carroll Post, to start and end their shift. So this is the main hub for the thumb at this point.
So I wouldn't bank on that, even though it's most likely a valid response. The attitude question was whether the budget or not, in terms of, have you heard anything related to the state in terms of perhaps removing? I think the key question here, Mike, is this county prepared to lose the state police post?
Well, I would certainly think it's not.
Well, okay. And the second question is, how much risk do you consider the board, would you advise the board to take to make sure that doesn't happen? Is that a counter offer?
I think that question, Mr. Commissioner, is above my pay grade. I don't know that. Like you said, I'm only giving you what I have in front of me. that's the decision for the board to make, how much risk you're willing to take. I think the state has told us that their market analysis shows somewhere between $17 and $20 or $23 a square foot, depending on what you look at. They feel they're already paying $5 to $6 a square foot, so they offered starting out at 10, so that puts them roughly at 16. Could you counter offer with a few more dollars per square foot? I'm sure you could. But the risk part, that's up for this board to make. That's not my decision.
Well, that was not a question that was solely upon your shoulders, Mike. I was looking for your thoughts, not the last call of the subject. The point is that at $16, and we're still paying off the bond?
No, no, to my
Completely
knowledge,
free.
that's all been paid,
That
yes.
that building's completely free.
Yes.
So if the risk was, and you did counteroffer, and they decided to reopen a post somewhere in a region that's more conducive to where they could operate out of, that would be my thought. That building, what would happen to that building?
Well, Mr. Commissioner, as you well know, since you've been here and since I've been here, space is no issue here in this county. If we have space, we're going to fill it with something.
That's my worry. They'll fill it with
I
something.
mean, we're always looking for space, so
We've
whether
become
it's people or records, it's going to have something in it.
Asset management has become our mantra here, with buildings and people and costs and an ability to fund even the 9/11 without a millage. As you can see, I'm making a circle, and it's going to get tighter and tighter, only in the sense that, well, we don't know the risk reward. We don't know the position that maybe Shelley should have investigated in terms of, well, what's going on in terms of, is there any potential probability of losing the state police? How much is the threshold that they would be willing to engage in? Well, we could assume that they gave us a low bid, and we could do a counter offer. I don't know. This is just as you brought up to us, just as you see it. I don't know. We're looking at the offer, but there's so much we don't know in terms of the risk of it. It is up to the board to decide that. And that's why I asked, well, what are you going to do with the building? Oh, we're going to fill it with something. But we don't get any money for that unless, we charge them overhead. Hope that's not a truck.
I will say from my conversations with the state, and maybe Shelley and Erica feel differently, they seem to be very willing to stay there. They want to stay there. I don't sense that they have they have a want or another, like a plan B in their pocket. And I know that both posts and the other counties are quite older than ours and smaller. Is that to say they wouldn't pull out if we stick, at $20-some a square foot? I don't know. Maybe they would. But I know they want to stay there. And then that's why they want a long-term lease, because they want to have a presence in the town.
Well, that is a plus. All the maintenance continues to be done internally, correct?
So basically, it's somewhat split. A lot of the maintenance, other than like light bulbs internally, we're going to take care of. But they're handling, as they do now, the lawn mowing, the snow plowing. And they're also now going to start doing the parking lot maintenance, which is a big benefit to us. So basically, everything stays the same as it is now. It's just the term.
So we done the parking lot maintenance and they were supposed to be doing, right?
As it comes to find out, yes.
Who could we contact that would give us an idea what the market, we've got plenty of people in town, what the going market rate is? Is the 16 to 1770, is that?
I did speak with Mark Ransford when we started this, and he indicated, $10 to $14 a square foot in this area is the going rate. $14 is, he said, or higher is for more specialized, which the state police post is a very specialized building. It was built through their specifications and has backup systems for backup systems in that building.
So the offer they're giving us between the 15, what is the offer? in this?
It's on page 6 there. It's the initial term is $10.44 a square foot for the first 10 years.
But that, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
that does not include the utilities they're paying, the 1044.
No, they figured that's the $5 to $6
That's what I mean.
they're already
So
paying.
they're actually paying 16.
Close to 16. -ish.
That's what I was curious about. For 10 years at that rate with locked in, no escalation, no adjustments, is that?
Commissioner Bardwell, if you look at the last page of the presentation, the 1044 is for the first 10, then it goes to 1141 for 5 years, and then 1237 for 5 years. The very last page of the
Is that page 6?
Pete, I don't see a
Oh,
number
page
page.
2490.
It's Appendix D.
Okay, I didn't deep dive that deep. So appendix D, would you repeat that again?
Appendix D.
I meant the.
Oh, the first 10 years is
Yeah.
1044, so 78,000 annually. The next 5, 11 through 15 is 1141, is 86,000, and then 16 through 20, 1237 a square foot for 93,000. And if I can, Mr. Chair, continue to talk.
Yeah.
I feel the same way Commissioner Bardwell feels. I think it's a fair, given if you looked at their whole analysis, and also Mr. Ransford's comment to Director Miller, I would rather keep them happy and, not run the risk of them moving out. But I'm just one commissioner. Because like Director Miller said, I think the other post, as far as my knowledge is basically, it's not a functioning post. It's just where they park and stuff like that. Sheriff, is that true?
Yes, most of them, they check in service here and go there. Some of them, if they live, essentially work on the other post.
Okay.
They're all out of these posts.
Okay. Thank you. That's all.
But Chairman, I think it's a privilege, as Commissioner Cook is, it's a privilege to have the state police post. That's probably safe to say in the area, in terms of response, and I agree with Commissioner Cook's analysis. And, I did find appendix D, but deferring back to you, I'd certainly stay with the offer. Recommend.
So let's move this to Thursday too, and vote on the offer of Michigan State. If there's any more information that can be shared on Thursday before that vote. Anything that we checked
They
out?
are willing to be on the line Thursday if you have questions. They offered, I think one of them or two of them will be on the phone. If you would like to have questions.
I think it's like both commissioners said it, for what we're talking, I think we need to get it done. It was probably a fair offer. I don't think it's too high. I don't think it's too low. It's probably in their analysis, it's a fair offer just to keep moving. I know we have to still work on the other situation that we're working on.
Right.
Is that, Chairman, is that the water?
Yes.
That's still continuing?
Well, I'm not gonna
Yes, it is.
throw air gun to the weather. It's continuing. I mean, both parties have been talking about, both parties have agreed what will take to get it to work. I just gotta get both parties together now.
Okay.
Talk it out.
I've got a few years.
And get it done. So we have done that. And I tried to blame Mike for that, but I couldn't. Because I told him I would get them together, and I tried to say, Mike, I think you misunderstood. But he come find out he did. So, but yeah. So let's bring it back to Thursday, and
Okay.
and go from Thursday. Sound good?
Yep.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Yeah. Move on to number 2. Update on 911 dispatch proposed millions. John Ramirez, Director Eric Nigel.
John and I worked together on a couple things. First is a PowerPoint presentation for you to kind of go over the questions regarding the difference between the surcharge and millage. What are the pros and cons? Okay. In addition to that, while Ian gets everything ready, John and I sat down and we did a drastic review of his budget and where could we cut costs for a short time to prevent us needing a special millage. So of course, the decision is ultimately up to the commissioners, but John and I worked together again it was some radical savings to say, can we limp along until a regularly scheduled election? Okay. There we are. Okay, so first is how are Michigan counties, I'm sorry, mine are in the wrong order, funding their dispatch. So 4 to 6 counties, I have some research on some counties that have not found if they renewed their millage. So at one point, there were 6 counties who did have a 911 millage. Of those, some have both a millage and a surcharge. Others have one or the other. And 66 out of 83 do impose surcharges. 50 counties have exceeded the 42-cent cap, which of course also requires voter approval. And many have had a combination of the millage and the surcharge. So what led us here today is the funding issues we're having with our central dispatch. We are projecting fund balance depletion in 26 with the cuts that John and I are proposing. We're thinking that we can get till 1st of 2027. So I did speak with the treasurer, and she said that if we do have an election in the fall of 2026, in August, it passed, we would be able to get those funds in March of 2027. So John and I kind of did some really deep budget cuts to try to get us to that point. Obviously, it would depend on voter approval, but that's where we're at. The current surcharge alone is not enough to sustain. Obviously, special election is being considered, and as you know, it is a costly option. But the continued general fund support is not sustainable. So my questions are, what are we doing to try to help this? Are dispatch directors pushing for legislative change? And the research shows yes, that MAC has been doing some changes or recommending some changes, as well as the state 911 committee are pushing for some ongoing improvements. And some of those include, there was just a technical something in July of 2025, which I am not finding my note on. I apologize. I'm not finding it. So there's some changes that they're pushing for, and I'm not positive if those have been passed or not. I know they haven't been passed, excuse me. I don't know if MAC or 911 have actually taken them to the legislature yet. So I know that they're talking about some things and they're pushing, and the dispatch directors and the authority boards are trying to get some changes made, but I don't know if those changes will be approved in a timeline that will allow us to benefit from those before our fund balance exhausts. In 2017, they did raise the surcharge. And as I said before, some counties have passed millages to either add to or replace the surcharge. Next slide, please. So a lot of questions are, can you have a millage and a surcharge? Yes, you can. They can coexist. Millages can cover operations. It's going to depend on the wording of the ballot language. Surcharges cover technology and network fees. And then, for example, Clinton Township reduced but did not eliminate their surcharge after passing their millage. So these are all things that we would have to discuss and determine what is best for our county. Next, please, Ian. Okay, so I used a real life example. So I have 3 phones. I currently pay $82.08 a year in surcharge. But based on the 0.35 mils, we were just using a couple of numbers, but based on the 0.35 mil approval, my property tax would go up by $49. So if we were to replace the surcharge with the millage, it would be actually a loss of revenue to the county. So we have to determine what is best for us to add to or replace. And if so, we need to obviously have the millage be high enough that it would replace. For example, if we replaced the millage, you would be losing $40 for $35 on my family. So obviously there are some differences. So the surcharge is based on per phone line. So my household, we have more than 1 phone, but we only have 1 home. So we have to determine, are we going to charge the per phone, cell phone, landline, or are we going to charge per property owner? So that's the decision, surcharge and or millage.
Yeah, John, can I ask a question? When you say charge the property owner, is that going to be an escalated percentage based on the amount of property you own?
Well, it would be based on the taxable value of the home. So I believe, of course, the greater the value, I know, greater the value, the greater the tax. And then I am not a property tax expert, but I know there's a different, when you live there versus secondary property. So I don't know if that escalates or if it would stay the standard mills. If it was 0.35 mills, is that the same if it's your secondary home or a piece of farm property? I would, once we get to that point, I will need to ask Angie Daniels for her assistance on that.
I'm a little concerned about that because anyone who would own farms would be disproportionately paying versus a residential for a service like this. Seems like it should be more equalized among the population, regardless of farms. Obviously, I'm interested in farms.
Of course. So our choice as a county would be, would we rather increase the surcharge than ask for a millage, because both require voter approval? So that's obviously a question for the commissioners. I'm just trying to give you some basic information right now.
We've looked at that, we've decided that a surcharge still wouldn't do it though, right, Erica? It's still, I mean, we can raise it to the top limit, which is $3.
Correct.
We determined that still would not sustain us long term.
Correct. I have not ran those numbers. Director John Ramirez did. I do not know the number of phones that are currently being charged, and I have not done the math on that.
So the bottom line is here, we're gonna have this, because it's been discussed, do we have a special money? Because if we have a special money, that's gonna be done now.
Correct.
Or do we wait till 26 with regular villages? And I think that's what the board needs to know. Does 911 still be able to survive not having a village till 26? I mean, that's the $1,000 question for all of us.
Was this in the packet? I apologize.
I think it was, and I think I see something like that.
Right before the presentation.
So like I said, Director Ramirez and I sat down with a sharp pencil.
77 of the packet, I believe, is what you have. Is that right? Is this what you're looking at?
Yes, yes.
Page 77 of your packet.
Thank you. And said, where can we save? And I understand that that might mean that some of the things that he has budgeted might have to wait. He has a cycle of replacement equipment. So, for example, next year, I believe it's supposed to be replaced are the monitors. So I asked him, Are they currently failing? Is there any problem with the current monitors? Can we hold off on replacing those monitors if needed? So he said yes. So him and I sat down, and I believe he is on the call, and sharpened our pencil to say how drastic of cuts can we make? And so we were able to find that with these drastic cuts, we can prevent him from going into a deficit for 2025, and we can reduce his deficit for 2026. But again, this is being very drastic. So I do understand that things might come up that he could potentially still need. But with a fund balance in 2025, opening fund balance of $675,000, if we can prevent going into a deficit, which was budgeted at $137,000 for 25, if we can prevent that $137,000 can help sustain the agency until we get to a regular election. So again, I know that that is not my decision to make, so I'm not making a recommendation in any capacity. I'm just saying, I believe Director Ramirez and I can keep it balanced and get us through until the election. Now, obviously, if that election happens and it's not passed, that's a different conversation.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, so say we do postpone it to August of 26, then if it fails, hopefully it doesn't, but if it does, we can put it on the November and there would be no additional cost for November of 26.
No, because we're already scheduled an
Okay.
election, because it's a gubernatorial year.
Wasn't there,
Thank you.
wasn't there legal that you cannot ask for a millage? It has to be so many months from one request, and that took away from November, George. We checked on that. And I think it was like 6 months or something. If you ask for a millage increase, you have to wait 6 months before you can ask for that same increase again. Now you can change the wording.
Yes.
Okay, you can change the wording. You can ask for 3.5 one time, 3.6 the next time. That's how you do it.
That is true.
I know that there
You
was
just change it.
recently, but I mean,
Yeah. You just
is
change
there
the
a
wording.
way to do it?
Well,
Yes.
yeah,
You-
okay.
Didn't we do that when we did the jail millage?
We only put the jail on once.
But, yeah,
Well, I mean, it was twice. It's just the first time was on a regular, the second one was a special, but there was more than 6 months.
Did we have to change the wording?
I don't recall that.
Yeah, okay, after I said that, it took me back with the answer was, right?
Can I make one more statement? And I think you hit it on the head. I don't think it's a matter of, do we need a millage but if we can go to the regular, it's gonna save us 60 grand or whatever.
It'll save the county about 60,000 and
Yeah.
it'll save your locals about 60,000.
Right. And I think if they've determined that that's the case, I would, again, speaking for myself, I like that idea. But also knowing that if in August it does fail, if we can do it in November with just changing the wording, I feel better with that too.
And when you make your final decision on Thursday, you would be able to adopt that language Thursday to be placed on the August ballot.
August of 26 ballot?
Mhm.
Okay.
Nothing further, Chairman. Thank you.
Chairman, I have a couple of questions on the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
1,289,000 is the revenue, which is fixed. You drop down to total expenditures, 1,256,000 or 1,297,000, 25 and 26, which leaves a small amount of money, 32,662 or 82 in 25, and a deficit of $8,000 and projected in 26. Below that, you have beginning fund balance and ending fund balance. So the revenue versus expenses, what did you do? Say the 32,000. What does that, let me just ask, what does that mean? I can understand down to, we've got the deficit and a little bit of money left over, but then you throw in the beginning and the ending. Where does that come into play in the spreadsheet?
So the beginning balance in blue is the same as the beginning balance for opening of 2025. So then you take, you are actually to the good 32,682 with our budget cuts.
So just hold a second. So I see that, let's say it's let's just use 676, 277. It's not in the beginning of the revenue, so it's not included in the revenues above that I can see.
Correct, that's not revenue, that's fund balance.
Okay, but it's money that can be used.
Yes,
You're right, but it's additional money. So let me say 32,000, let me use in the red, 8,000. Did you take that 8,000 away from the beginning fund balance to get the 669?
yes,
Okay. So what's your projection is the bottom line there? John, 911 should end up with 707 in their fund balance in 25, which was amazing. I'm not sure what was cut, or just about 700,000 in 26. Is that correct?
that's correct. So the ones in yellow are the ones that we are projecting he can have savings on. So the gray column is the current budget. The green column is where we believe we can save money. And then the blue column is gray minus green. So that would be where we're hopefully going to hit in 2025.
Erica, in the green column, of those items, and John, you're listening as well, other than postage or printing or something like that, do any of these items that are being cut, would that mitigate the serviceability of 911 in terms of servicing the population?
That would be a John. I don't believe so, of course, but let me ask John, are you on the call?
Yes, I am. So with the projected budget cuts that Eric and I have worked out, this will not impact operations day to day. What it does impact is moving forward with any improvements, or it may limit any emergent fixes for equipment that goes down. We've taken this to bare bones. What can we do to get through this year?
So John, in terms of past precedents, in terms of saving on equipment, we've had a lot of experience in this. We try to save money, then it costs us twice as much when we go back to upgrade our technology. Do you anticipate that? I mean, this is whether it's true or not, this is a cost of an opportunity cost. So if we delay any technology, which is pretty substantial, about 106,000, I think here, and there's 659 repairs. If we delay that, do you anticipate it to be more than that when you go back to upgrade?
It may. I mean, our equipment and software seems to be raising between 7 and 10% every year. The good thing is I was only looking at implementing one significant software program to dispatch, and we've been able to mitigate, again, like Commissioner Vaughn had said, two parties to come together to make the product better. I think we can mitigate any raise in costs for that. But always that's our concern, and our concern is just staying viable right now and open until the next election.
And Chairman, I want to ask another question, John. John, why was not this analysis somewhat like this presented before, and all the other analysis that would show that we would be in a deficit, putting the county in a deficit to the position of paying, I don't know, $300,000 or $500,000? What is so special about this versus what was presented before?
I would chalk this up to maybe difference of opinion. I don't necessarily think of taking us to bare bones. So I think just working in collaboration with Erica and Shelley, we were able to get to think outside the box and keep us viable and open for another year.
So does the board believe, I mean, this is just something to think about, does the board believe that savings of $60,000 on the election is an absolute savings compared to what county could incur if this projection was in error and we did go into deficit? I don't know 9/11, John, but just 60,000 could be the cheap side versus something that would happen that you would need, that would be a substantial outlay. I don't have the answers to those questions, but it's a risk reward options. But you are apparently in agreement with this analysis. Is that not true?
Mostly, yes.
Okay.
One of the concerns I have when we talk about things like this is we only have numbers for now and the past when we make our analysis. So when we look ahead, and we started this year, and forgive me, I didn't pack all my paperwork for this presentation as I'm in Tennessee right now. But when we talk about a possible fund balance starting the year 2026 with 675,000, that's assuming things like insurance do not rise. That's assuming with our modified accruals that other things do not rise, which cause a loss to that fund balance. So I think it's, mathematically, yes, that is the number right now we're looking at. But I think as we move through this year and as well as next year, especially with negotiations starting soon, I think that's the high end of the number we would be looking at. I personally think it'll be lower, but again, we can only work with the numbers we currently have, looking backwards. And please, Erica, if I'm wrong, correct me as well.
For 2025 was a deficit of 137,000. So if our numbers are wrong and we have zero impact to the fund balance, if we're $30,000 incorrect, that still leaves us with 675,000 in the fund balance. So if we are wrong and it's a slight margin, we still have enough to get through to 2027. We have a burn of roughly 150 to 200,000 of our fund balance per year in dispatch. So I see us being okay and having a slight cushion if something comes up, or the projected monitor replacement becomes a critical issue. So can he afford to do that? Well, he can if we maintain the other savings. So that's my educated guess as to where we will be in December of 2026.
Well, if we wait, it's gonna save the township 60,000, save the county 60. That's $120,000 you're gonna save. It's risk reward.
And as I explained to Director Ramirez, it's a short-term sacrifice. I understand that it's a sacrifice, but I am leaning on his expertise to say this has to happen. There is a critical issue. I am going to have to reduce my savings by $5,000 because this is a critical issue. And then also at the same time, if it's non-critical and it can wait, we need him to wait.
Another question, Chairman. When you say 120,000, it was the first time I heard the 120. It is 60,000 and 60,000? 60 county, 60 township?
Roughly. I did some projections for your last meeting, and it was between 55 and 60,000 for the county, 55 to 60,000 for the local city and townships.
I guess, Chairman, we've been around this several times in the sense that this is a service that impacts the county proper in a very personal way. And we have to be committed to a decision, whatever decision is, because by next Thursday, it's done. And financially, it's also been projected that we'd have to, as I mentioned earlier, we'd have to add money to this. We'd have to add money to it anyway if it didn't pan out. Fortunately, this is just a little subset of a budget that is much more clear than the county because it's surcharge money. It's just wrapped into one little department, but yet it's a major decision.
Yeah, it's like I said before, I think we're all in agreement that, yes, a millage is inevitable. We gotta have a millage. But, my position is always been, because this is after long talks with Clan, Erica, since she's been in there, and people, that this could, we're our fund, we could get through till the 27th election. That's always been my position, that we can do that. Because the 27th election, I think it needs to be put on. But I think we, that's just for the conversation, especially with Clat, which is, I mean, we really went over that 911 budget, like, because that's what I want to know. Are we good? If we need a special election, if we make it? Because I want everybody to understand, and John too, I believe that we gotta have a money, as much as anybody does. It's just when we do it, a special election, or do we do it at the regular scheduled time? And that's, but this is what I say, we put this back on Thursday, make a decision on Thursday, which way we want to go.
Mr. Chair, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Madam Clerk, so Thursday, would you recommend two motions? One to do a special, one to do August?
No, that would be all in one motion.
Okay,
Yep, you will, when you are ready to make that motion, the motion will include which election you're gonna place it on,
Okay.
as well as it will include the language that you are gonna place on that. So that language will need to be finalized in order for that motion to be completed.
yeah, but my point is, if there's some commissioners that feel we should do it in a special election versus August of 26, should there be two drafted?
Yeah, you could.
Okay.
Mhm.
No further
Now,
questions.
if we decided to put it on the 26th ballot, you don't have to do all that right now, do you? You have to have the language and all that stuff done now for that.
You're able to.
You're able to, but
And
don't necessarily have to have that done.
You don't have to. It's just, we talked about not kicking that can down the road.
Right.
And so that's why I
Right.
said, if you wanted to and just shore that up and that decision be taken off your to-do list, then you would be able to, since we're in the midst of this discussion, be able to do that.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
I guess the only reason I asked that, and I think it's piggybacking on Commissioner Bardwell's statement, I think if we were to do that, approve it for August of 26, it would let our constituents know that this is important, but financially,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
we
I
can, and I'm not saying you didn't think it's important, but in my mind, it would let them know, yes, we know in August of 26, we got to bring this to the voters, but in the meantime, we can still provide the same service that we're doing with our fund balance. Do you agree, Commissioner Bardwell?
Well,
I don't want to put you on the spot, sorry.
I think
That's how I feel.
it's a projection and no one
Right.
really knows what may happen. And the greatest concern, obviously, we all have, is something that we missed or something occurs that's going to drop that fund balance to an unserviceable level where the county will have to shore up. Because I looked at the options again in your presentation. The real key decision is, I mean, the people need 911, they depend on it. And we have to be in a position, and first thing I thought of, all right, so we need money, we go to our reserves. Well, that is the last resort. You go to reserves, your county is,
Right.
you're in trouble. We have ARPA funds, I don't know, really. What other money do we have? We had 500,000 going in from the taxes increase. I don't know. But the decision is a major one in the sense that of the unknowns, it's somewhat frightening of the implication. And even if we told the public that, all right, we understand what you're saying, you don't want a millage, I guess the word I was going to use, we think we can make it. I don't know, but hopefully we can. The concern is John is not totally bought into it. You did say, Chairman, you said you talked to Clea, right?
Yes.
Okay, Clea hasn't started yet. What is her overview? I mean, what was her basis of her reference? Was it the past or the present?
This has been, even when she was here before, because we've talked about this for a long time with Duncan. And I've always talked to her, said, okay, where are we at on this? Are these figures accurate that we're seeing? Can this sustain here? And her opinion to me was always, we're going to be fine until 2027. He can sustain that, no problem. Then we need to look seriously at a millage. Okay, that's always been her consensus, or 26. It's always been a consensus that we don't need a special bonus. He's fine. He's got the money. It's gonna be fund balance. Yeah, you might have to adjust it. But is there a need for a special bonus? Because that's what I always want to know. Do we need to have special bonus? And, because I don't understand all the stuff that, 911 brings to us and all these figures here, this fund balances. And so the only one I can go to is Claire.
Well, no, I was
Yeah,
just
and,
curious because I know she didn't start yet. She's just.
But this has been going on for last year, because we've been talking about this forever. And, but her decision was always that he has the money to get to 26's election.
Somehow.
Yes. That's always been our consensus, and that's why I always tried to say before, is that, hey, I'm for election altogether. But I believe from the information I have received from the different departments that we have to get the information, that we don't need that till the August to the 26th. So,
Chairman. Angie?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that, yeah, that would be applied to all properties,
every parcel.
all based on taxable value. So the bigger the taxable base or taxable value, the more you're gonna pay, just like all of our millages. Okay?
Thank
Which-
you.
Is this,
You're welcome.
Chairman, I can sum this up really fast. The pain of assurance, this is where we're at. The pain of assuring the public 9/11 versus the pain of something happening and then coming back to us and said, yeah, it was your decision. Because 55% of the decisions we make are always wrong to somebody, so it's a tough decision.
Right.
Well, maybe it's not. Back to you, Chair.
So let's put this back on for Thursday. Let's have another discussion on Thursday. And at the end of Thursday, let's get a direction of where we're going and when this thing's going on in the village, and what we're asking for, and get this put behind us, and we can focus, we know what we gotta do. Sound good?
Director Ramirez has raised his hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that Commissioner Bardwell, I have bought into the system. Doesn't mean I don't have reservations, but that's just the nature of my position. This is one of those instances where I had to trust but verify. So I trust Erica in her assessments, and we have verified together. So that's regardless of personal feelings, I have bought into what we have presented this morning.
Okay, John.
Thank you.
Take care. So we'll move on to Thursday for hopefully last discussion until we get close to the millions. I guess, Kelly, are we somewhere right now where we have language already started for this and all that?
Yes.
Are we gonna have that ready for Thursday?
Yes, we do. We'll have to have one more talk with Director Ramirez. So sorry about that, John. Just to finalize some numbers.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, Madam Clerk, do you think we should draft two motions? One special and one August the 26th, or what's your feeling on that? I don't want to put you on the spot either, sorry.
hey,
But I did.
did you already ask
That's
that
okay.
question once?
No.
That would be up to the commissioners. If you would like to make us two separate motions, that would be sufficient if you want to vote on which election that you want to post it on. And then in the second motion, we can incorporate the then chosen date with the language.
I'm just speaking for myself.
Chairman, I got one added comment. I know. One thing the board has the authority to do is reduce millage. And unfortunately, the board has not really engaged in that very much over the years in terms of looking at the fund balances and really on the behalf of the people, giving them some relief. This is not one of those that, I'm citing the past because, in a sense, we ask for millages, but we never go back and seriously review them, not in my mind. We had some when they were coming up, but Perhaps that is something the board needs to consider, looking at all 10 of them at some point and deciding, is it time to reduce? Is the fund balance appropriate? Just a thought, because we have not done that, and that's part of our responsibility, is to assure that we're not overcharging our residents in taxes related to excessive fund balances.
We have
Would you agree?
talked, yeah, I do agree with you. We have talked about that a few times. But this probably come back and say, well, you know, I got a lot there, but this is what's coming down the pipe. But it's something that you need one meeting, I think, to take a serious look at them all. And look at where we're at, what's coming down the pipe, and what is needed. You know, what we have coming in, but what is needed. That, I agree with that. That is something, that is under our purview to do that.
Do you recall the timeline of that? Is it once a year? Is there any parameters set?
I don't think there's any
I don't
parameters
think so.
set on that, but it has to be done by a certain time, and I think we can do that at any time. But I think it's a discussion that we need to have as a board. Look at everybody's and give people, everybody's getting ability to talk to them and make sure that because if there's something that we can do, I think we should. Okay, so we'll move that on to next week, and we'll have two motions ready.
Nobody else chimed in.
No, fine job.
Just want to blame me. It's all right, buddy. I got broad shoulders, I can take it.
Okay. Move on to number 3, discussion and control administrative employment agreement. Never had a chance to look at it. We're open to the floor for comments, concerns, whatever.
Well, since there are no comments, Chairman, if I may, setting all individuals aside, I look at it from a different perspective maybe than others, but when I looked at the salary, the county salaries, I didn't see the current chief accountant's salary there. The spreadsheet that you provided.
The one that I sent to you and Commissioner Cook? That was
Did
department heads and elected
everyone
officials.
get those?
No.
No,
Okay.
I didn't get one.
Okay, then only I got, I was thinking everyone got this, because it is public information. You shouldn't have to. So with that, my question is, what is the current salary of the chief accountant?
We covered that, 2 meetings ago. I don't have that with me because the request from Commissioner Cook was department heads and elected officials. So
Okay,
it's not-
I understand that now. But what is the salary of the current?
Yeah, step 1 is about 59,000, 60,000, yeah, just.
This position, this employment agreement goes from 60 to 110? Is that 50,000? Is that something that you can justify as a board, moving an individual 50,000? Regardless of the individual, any position, can you justify in the county moving someone with a $50,000 increase?
But again, Commissioner, we went over this last time when we were hired for that. It's not about increase for one a pay raise. It's a position move.
So
One position pays this, the other position pays that.
let's go back to that. Glad had 30 years of experience progressively.
I understand that,
The
but
current chief accountant has not even anywhere near that. 50,000. I have an issue with that, only in the sense that I think it's a broad jump for, now, this is me as a commissioner, if I saw a history of progression, something, but again, I'm gonna go back to financials, I'm gonna go back to Clayette's been here once before. We thought we did cross-training before. And we're still in the same situation. Had to bring Clayette back, I think, for a period of time. I don't see how we can justify that amongst the elected, nor the appointed, nor the residents, if that's published. Now, what's alternatives? Well, I've already talked to Shelley related to steps and learned about, but there should be, in terms of the job description, I know there's provision for review in here. We've been through that before. I'd feel a lot more comfortable if there was some review dates related to, all right, these are the duties of the controller administrator. Administrator had no issues there. The controller aspect is vital to this county. The oversight, that's the individual to have the breadth and depth of all the financials at any particular time. Answer questions, we do create reports. We don't even have a chief accountant yet, but I won't go through all that. So there's my thoughts, Chairman. It's just
Chairman,
difficult.
The term, and thoughts was it, but again, my position is it's not a pay raise, it's a position change, and we would take somebody else like the last guy we looked at or whatever and hire and pay her that without even knowing her or really or just go on their resume. So I understand exactly what Mr. Brennan was saying, but my position stays the same. Go ahead.
well, if I remember correctly, and somebody can tell me if I'm wrong, we had these guys here, I call them headhunters. They wanted 30,000 to find somebody, and they're talking, if you found somebody, they'd be at 130 to 150,000. That's if you found somebody. I know what Lapeer's paying for their county controller. We certainly can't afford that. So, I think we need to stop and think about that also.
Well, Commissioner Lutz, have you considered the experience that a candidate may bring and the credentialing?
We had that. We had that.
No, we didn't. We had an example of it, which is still a mystery of why he left, because he never really talked to anyone other than two people, apparently. I wouldn't say I would base everything on, if that were the case, I wouldn't base a CPA credentialing or public accounting experience against a Capella University online with 2 accounting courses, 1 finance, 1, as I recall, looking it up, and 1 intros. I don't have a problem if you come with experience. I have a problem with the experience isn't demonstrated there. How do you justify the 50,000? Do you explain to the people? It's the position. We have to pay that for the position. If we recruit it, absolutely, you're going to get a higher caliber. That's what I said with Brian Newville. If you didn't know the people, look at both of these examples of her resumes. There's no doubt where you gravitate towards. Is that not true? The silence means yes.
No,
I'm just letting you talk.
I'm just letting you talk.
I think my position.
Well, that's
I guess we got a
is
difference of opinions because I look at it different than you do.
I know you do, and that's why I'm bringing this out in public, is because there is a difference in opinion, and the fact is that that's certainly acceptable. It's just the justification and the deliverables that need to be there. The concern I have is the deliverables aren't there. How long can we employ Clayette to shore it up? Now, I have somewhat confidence that Clayette, because you came in with no experience, and I remember the first interview, you needed Clayette to show you what to do. This is it. Is it not?
Mr. Chairman, may I
I think,
answer, or would you like me to know?
just 1 second. And again, we need to hire a chief accountant. We had looked at everything, a chief accountant. We wanted to bring Clayette, and that's so much where everybody's saying the sheriff, to just bridge that gap to be finding the right chief accountant to take over this position. Is my feeling, which I think look at it a little differently. Sheriff, I think Eric can sure it up, but I think we need somebody that can help with figures to jump some gaps. A lot of things need to be done.
Well,
That's my
Chairman, why do
position.
you think Eric can short up when we're in almost our 8th month and we can use the budget? I'm just
There's,
confused.
because she walked into a hot mess. And she had to stir up the hot mess before she could stir up the mess over it. And that's, I don't want to get back into that.
What
We've
was the
been
hot
through that.
mess?
The things that were left with from the previous controller, with the issues that our audit people had, it was a hot mess. Okay, and she had to, so that, what, we want to touch on that.
Well, Clayton set it up for the auditors.
They found things they couldn't even imagine. They couldn't make this stuff up.
All right.
But anyway, but it's not, I want to get
That's
back
all.
into that.
I just
Yes,
wanted to respond to the, I need Clayette statement. That was, in my recollection, the question was, how would you see yourself in the first 2 weeks of employment? My statement was, I would learn from Clayette, meaning at any time, when you take on a new position, it does not matter if you are a janitor, a CEO, or anything, you spend time with the incumbent. You learn where are they at on projects? Where do you find this? Where do you find that? What report do you run for this? What report do you run for that? So when I said I would like time with Clayette, that was the intent, to learn where is she at on certain things? Where do you house things? How do I find the past millage language? Where do I find this at? So I could learn from her. So that was the intent of that question, in my opinion. Now, I could have been mistaken, but we are asking Clayette to come back now to help us train a chief accountant so I can focus on the controller administrator role. Now, would I love to have her tell me, you can find this here, here, and here? Sure. But most of it I've already figured out. I had zero training with an incumbent here. There was no chief accountant before me for the past 5 years, and there was no control administrator. Now, Shelley, Debbie, Angie, they have been great showing me what they know and the things that they've done and where can you find this or that. And most of it I learned from them or boots on the ground figuring it out. So I don't necessarily need Clayette, but the boots on the ground to help us get through. So I can not do the day-to-day while we hire a chief accountant. She can help with the day-to-day while I am learning these other things.
Who is she?
Clayette. So when
Okay.
she's coming back right now, the intent is for her to help fill that gap while we hire a new chief accountant so that I can start doing the higher level items. That's the intent of Clayette. And if I'm wrong, Shelley, please correct me.
No.
Nope, you're right.
Okay, thank you.
And also Clayette did start Friday.
Yes, she came in for a couple of hours on Friday, yes.
Onboarding, I heard.
Well, she onboarded, she looked through some things, she showed me a couple of things where to find them.
That's right.
Okay.
Point is, back to you, Chair, I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Okay, so let us move this to Thursday.
Yes,
Motion on Thursday.
motion on
Thursday.
Thursday.
On Thursday. Okay, that takes us through the old business, finance and technology. Mr. Liaison reports, Mr. Bardwell.
Give me a second here to go back to where it should be. Well, it seems like we've been talking about finance all morning, so. The only question I may have is that I think we received the Dykema letter related to the Attorney Fisher Rez, the request from the Chief Judge. Did you receive that?
I haven't seen it.
I'm the only one? Oh, great. It was received 3/6. No, it can't be, right?
3-6?
3-6? Yeah, we are a little behind.
7-6?
That's what
It says.
So there's the letter. Then I'll defer because the chair hasn't even seen the letter. I thought we all got it. It wasn't addressed to me. It was just addressed to Board of Commissioners, which should have went to the chair. I hope it's not 3/6/25. What's the date of that letter?
What's the envelope say? Does the envelope say 3?
It was in my box. Forget this. This is March 4th. Don't ask me how it got in my box.
Yeah, March 4th.
Okay, we're done with that.
And
Strike
Commissioners, I
that,
do
strike
believe
that,
that has
Madam
been
Clerk.
handled.
Yeah, I think, I'm reading, I'm saying, I think we discussed this.
Well, I
We've
did too.
discussed it and it's been handled.
I just glanced at it when I was sitting here and, okay,
Commissioner Bradwell, you need to empty your box more often.
I sort of knew that was happening. It's always empty. I don't know where that came from. All right, so, anything
Excuse me.
on technology? Ian?
Only two things, the Department of Cybersecurity Infrastructure and Security Agency released some updates, so we've been busy battling against those or complying with those to make sure that we're all there with our election integrity. Second is the audio visual for the conference rooms, save the bit room, is being put in yesterday or Friday, and then again today will be completed. So those mini conference rooms will have presentation and video conferencing available to them, ready to go. The big room is scheduled for October for jazz installation. Other than that, day to day, we've been down a few employees, vacations, and health-wise, just try to struggle to keep the lights on for the last 2. That's it.
Anything else?
Nothing else.
Moving on to building and grounds and, Commissioner Lutz.
I don't have anything. Director Miller, you got something?
I do have an update. I just want to give you a quick update that the project for the sidewalk replacement at the courthouse started this morning. So I understand it started off well at this point, but from here I'll be going over to check it out. But yeah, hopefully this week the sidewalk will be replaced along with the concrete over on the sheriff's department side where the dumpster is. So that should all be hopefully completed this week, as long as the rain holds off. So, although we do need rain, but not now. Just keep it out there. Well, at least in some areas.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Back to you, sir.
Personnel, Commissioner Goodchild, do you have anything?
No, I do not. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Sure.
I've been reading about the governor's wish list on health insurance, and I'm sure you have too. Went back and the same thing was posted, a little bit added with some of the smaller businesses, insurance companies. You've seen that. What do you, and you've met with Brown and Brown. They have indicated major increases.
Potential, yes.
I always like that word, potential.
We're self-funded, so we're hoping for the best.
What do you predict?
Well, historically, when I calculate the bill, it kind of goes by the multiplier, which is based on usage. So historically, as in last year around this time, we get our assumptions from Brown and Brown, and we're going along pretty good. Some months are a little bit higher, some months are a little bit lower, but last year, every month was extremely high. And by July of last year, we were at a 2.0 multiplier, so twice what our assumption was. So that's typically how I look at the renewal coming in. So this year, hope that's real wood, our multipliers have been running pretty even, just slightly higher, which is a very good indication to me. However, we had our pre-meeting with Brown and Brown 2 weeks ago, and they do think we will have an increase. We do not have a number yet, but I'm basing my thoughts on historical, what's happened in the past with that multiplier. So I'm not saying that the last 4 months couldn't hit us hard. This last, let's see, I just did July, calculated the bill and the multiplier. It was 1.01. Last year at this time, I think we're at like 1.99. So based on usage so far, it looks like we're doing good, but we won't know anything for another 6 weeks. So we did discuss some other options. We discussed some dental options. We did discuss some other health insurance options, but based on the 2-year run out and then the potential of the change that I do not believe would be beneficial to the county.
Okay, well, that's sort of,
I mean, based on our multiplier and based on history, I'm hopeful that that stays, based on history, that our renewal comes back about where I think it will be, but we won't know that yet, so.
like a 10% or not 18%. I don't know.
Well, historically, before this last one, we would do like a 3 or a 5%, and then last year was, I believe, like around 16%. So the PA 152, that number has barely moved. There is still legislation sitting on someone's desk. There's all that still in motion, so.
Well, the second question, Sharon, when do negotiations start? What's the first?
So we have one unit, the command unit, that is not negotiating this year because they did negotiate a 3-year contract, but we will start our negotiations around October. So we are already doing some backleg work here to pull contracts from other counties for the units that we'll be negotiating.
Which units will be negotiated?
That would be all of the POAM, so in ASME.
Okay. No further questions.
Mr. Chair, I happened to see a couple of our representatives Friday, and they said, don't look for the state budget at least past September. So, just
Is
so you know.
that message revenue sharing you're saying, or?
Well, that's what I was told. I said, well, how's the state budget coming? They said, don't look anything till September at least.
Any more business is necessary? I can take this one. I put this under business, other business is necessary. Anything else under business is necessary? All right, we'll move into public comment. You can address the board at this time if you want to. You have five minutes to address the board.
Mary Dryer has her hand raised.
The board recognizes Mary Dryer.
Yes, I'm sorry, my voice is going. I have a bad cold. But I have a couple of questions. The last board meeting, you said you were going to have a committee meeting with your future controller administrator and 2 commissioners. It was supposed to have been an open meeting. There was nothing that's happened. You told me Friday that there was no meeting. But today in the packet, you have already outlined a start date and a salary. How were those 2 factors determined if there was no meeting? How do you know she will start on August 1st? How do you know she will accept a $110,000 salary if there was no meeting on those issues?
Yeah, we don't have a timer.
There was a meeting, but it wasn't with the commissioners. It was done inside the controller's office with the attorney looking at the contract with HR director and stuff. It wasn't done with the commissioners. And then brought to the board today it was, well, last board meeting was when it was presented, and today we're following up on it.
So you were the only representative of the county, the head of the county, making decisions without the rest of the input or a formal meeting in public. Is that correct?
I'm not understanding.
You said a meeting was held in the administrator's office. You were supposed to have a public meeting. You didn't have any public forum, didn't get any public input on it. Is that correct?
We had public input. We had it at the last meeting. Everything was done at these meetings right here. This is when the public inputted or whatever.
So how was the August start date come about? Her salary was already worked out and you already have a contract drafted with that information. If it was all decided but outside the county.
It's a proposed draft, no decisions made.
It didn't say proposed draft.
It says draft across it.
So how was that information found? That somebody would be willing to start August 4th and would accept that salary? It didn't come before the board.
It's here right now.
Pardon?
It's here right now. That's why it says draft across it.
So how were those numbers and figures arrived at?
Those were from the previous This controller administrator proposed draft is the same one that we had in December when we were looking at a different candidate. So it was emailed out to the personnel committee and then brought back to the full board twice now.
So it had the same salary, the same start date in August this year.
Nope, the start date is up for determination on Thursday.
Okay, who's speaking, please? I don't know who's speaking.
This is Shelley.
All right, thank you, Shelley.
You're welcome.
Any more public comment? Now seeing or hearing none. Let the record show the public comment was offered. We did have one participant, Mary Dryer. And with that, I will take a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll support that.
Then moved by Commissioner Lee, supported by Commissioner Cook to adjourn the committee of the whole meeting this morning. I want to thank everybody who joined us on visual. Everybody in the boardroom. With that being said, all in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.